Hey, Ed Schultz with you. I'm back. Here's the number right here. Look at this, 202-909-1492. Dial now and we'll talk it over. We're back to Reagan's world, okay? This is going to be major tax reform. Some people on the GOP side aren't going to go along with it, but this is going to get passed. I am a firm believer. We have been introduced to Trumponomics today. Do we call it that?
I think it's a good one.
Trumponomics. That's what we'll call it. The corporate tax rate is going to go from 35 to 15%. Ballpark, this is the largest tax deduction. Wait a minute. No, the largest tax cut and the biggest reform we've ever seen. This is what Trump has put out. Notice how he put it out before day 100. So this will be on the report card too. Corporations are going to be the big winners. They're going to be able to repatriate money back to the United States with some tax advantages that they're not going to get drilled for bringing the money back. It's all an effort to, let's go back to Reagan's world, increase the tax base, get more people paying into the Treasury, and this is going to take care of everything. It's trickle-down economics. If you just give the wealthy and the corporations all the breaks in the world, don't worry, they're not going to pocket that money. They're going to invest it in people and equipment and innovation, and it's going to grow the economy. And they're not going to be selfish at all, and the stock prices for a while on Wall Street are going to go through the roof, but at the end of the day, the rich are definitely going to come out, and we're not really sure how the middle class or the poor are going to work. Here's the bait. It's almost fishing season, by the way, too. Here's the bait that's being thrown to the lower income people in this country. For the first $24,000, you're not going to be taxed. Do you know how many people work for $18,000 to $24,000 a year? There's a lot of Americans that fall in that bracket. And so can you just imagine a owner saying, hey, look, you're making $23,500. I'm going to move you to $24,000. You know, if we go beyond that, you're going to pay tax. And so I'm cutting you a break here. You don't have to pay tax if I keep you at 24, and maybe I'll help you with a few bonuses, some extra time off during the year. That's what's going to happen. I mean, for the lower income people, I don't think it's going to move them further when it comes to making more money. I think it's an incentive for the wealthy in this country to depress wages. Let's go to the phones. 202-909-1492. You're on with Ed on Facebook Live. Hello.
Hello, Ed. This is Dennis Miller speaking.
How are you?
Pretty good. I just wrote an article on Reaganomics, and number one, the real average tax burden to corporations is only 13.7% right now.
Well, this is interesting because there's going to be a lot of deductions that are going to be cut away, according to the Treasury Secretary. Look, today's meeting, today's rollout was big on theory. It was short on detail. Go ahead.
The tax holiday, they've got something close to $3 trillion offshore. I wish they would open up a holiday and let them bring it all in and see if they're willing to put jobs and production back in America or just buy other corporations.
Okay, so from what you heard today, are you on board with it?
I am not on board with anything that gives corporations a break other than the tax holiday.
Okay.
Let them bring it all back overseas.
All right.
From overseas.
Appreciate your call. Thank you. 202-909-1492. Ed Schultz with you on Facebook Live. 202-909-1492. We make it so easy. Is this going to sustain the bull run in the market? Yes, it is. In the short term. That's what I think. I don't think there's any doubt that you're going to see profits go up, that there's going to be on the surface a lot of money to be made, meaning it's going to show on the balance sheet, but I don't know if it's going to be real money that's going to be invested back in the economy. Let's go to the phones. 202-909-1492. You're on with Ed Schultz, Facebook Live. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess I want to ask him a question. That's what I called in for.
Go ahead. You're on. Turn your radio down and talk to me. Let's go.
I'm on live. Okay. Hi, Ed. I wonder if you would speak a little bit about future technology eliminating jobs and what the tax structure might evolve into from something like that.
Well, it was pretty spooky last night. We ran this story on the News with Ed at 8 o'clock Eastern on RT about the animation that's going to be coming to the world. And 20 years from now, there's going to be an awful lot of jobs that are going to be done by robots and equipment, far more than we have right now. You know, I don't want a robot operating on me. I'd like to have a doctor. I don't like the idea of flying cars with people that don't have a license to leave their feet off the ground. I mean, I'm a pilot. I've been flying since 1988. I got to have a medical. I got to have it every 2 years. I got to have my aircraft checked every 100 hours. I got to have a physical. You know, I got to do a flight test depending on what I'm flying. And so now we're just going to turn cars into flying and let them go wherever the hell they want. I mean,
there won't be too much problem for the profit corporations to create a dialogue and a set of legislation to forward their, application of these technologies. But I wonder, what will it take for the government to manage the segue we're entering into? It doesn't look like we're heading toward a shared society. It looks like we'll be fighting over less.
Well, look, there's always going to be the haves and the have-nots in America, the way corporate America is running today. And there's always going to be people that are going to be left behind, and the social safety net is now on the chopping block with the Republicans. And it's going to take a strong progressive movement to come back to preserve all those kinds of things. That's how I see it. I appreciate your call. 202-909-1492. Ed Schultz with you on Facebook Live. Corporation's going to be the big winner. Let me just put it in a nutshell. Today's rollout was short on detail. It was big on concept, big on theory. And when directly asked about whether this was going to be revenue neutral, the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, could not answer the question. He's not sure. We're still looking at a lot of things. We haven't decided what deductions we're going to allow or not allow. Travel, healthcare, equipment, business investment. We don't know what is going to be available. And so today was this big theory that was thrown out. The answers weren't very long, and the press conference didn't last very long. But here's what they're selling you on. The size of the tax code, and this is what Reagan did in front of the Congress. Reagan actually brought the tax code physically to Congress and put it right next to the podium where he was speaking to the joint session of the Congress. And, of course, it was an awesome visual. It was before visuals were effective. He knew how to use television. And he laid up about 6 different stacks of paper and says, this is the tax code, and this is how we want to change it. Well, today, they're pushing Americans on simplification. They're pushing Americans on too much, there's too much detail, that we've got to eliminate all this. And I think a lot of Americans on the surface are going to buy it. 202-909-1492.
Ed, I thought it was interesting today that, not to sit there and criticize reporters or anything, but somebody asked, isn't this tax code going to benefit President Trump, his businesses?
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, the death tax is going to be history. It's not going to be eliminated slowly either. It's going to be an across-the-board cut. So if this proposal goes through, the inheritance tax, the death tax is what it's been known as, is going to be gone. So that means Trump can leave his empire to his kids and they won't pay any tax on it. Let's go to the phones. 202-909-1492. You're on Facebook Live with Ed. Hello.
Yes, Ed.
Yes.
How can you be for Bernie Sanders when he says he's a progressive and he doesn't release his taxes? In the last debate, he said he was going to release more than 2 pages. He did not. He has more homes than all of us. Some of us don't even have a home. He has 3 homes. But you go out there and tout Bernie as a savior. If he's going to be a progressive, he has to release his taxes.
He did.
Period.
He released his taxes.
No, he didn't. He released 2 pages of 1 year. He didn't release the whole.
No, you got it mixed up. You got it mixed up. You got it mixed up there. It was Trump.
No, he did not release his taxes. I know he did. He only released 2 pages, and you keep calling him a progressive. That's not a progressive.
Ma'am, you got to get your facts straight. Donald Trump.
I know my facts. I know my facts. I remember what he said in the last primary debate. He was going to release more tax information. He did not. He has failed to follow on his words. He did not become a Democrat. He is a liar. He's an egotist, and you keep promoting him, just like you never say anything negative about Trump. A progressive releases taxes, and they don't just release 2 pages for 1
Okay.
year.
All right. Well, I disagree with you.
Being a progressive.
I
know what a progressive is.
I do too. I know what a progressive is, and I don't need your litmus test, okay? Here's the bottom line. Your facts are wrong. Bernie Sanders did release his taxes, and I don't give a goddamn if he has 10 homes. That means he's doing things right. And how do you know how expensive those homes are anyway? So it was Trump that had 2 pages released that showed up on one of the network shows. So Bernie has been very forthcoming, I think, with the American people on that.
I'm sorry, Ed. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
I was just going to say I had to look this up because I wanted to verify the facts here.
Yeah.
Senator Sanders, according to Politico, returned his released his tax returns, and they were boring.
I mean, no, he released his tax returns. They didn't find anything wrong, so they didn't make a story out of it. But that call right there is a perfect example of how people can be horribly misinformed and grab a piece of information and even mix it up with the candidate.
Well, and Ed, I would say, like, right now there's a big test for Bernie Sanders with a lot of progressives. Because he endorsed a candidate out of Omaha, Nebraska for the mayoral race. I believe that's the Heath Mello race. I do apologize if I'm confusing.
Yeah, you're right.
Who was in favor of possibly legislating women's reproductive rights, but a lot of Democrats are behind it.
Yeah. Oh, there's pro-life Democrats.
And there has been this big thing because Bernie endorsed the candidate that now he's
you can't be a one-issue voter. That's so yesteryear in our political system. That's how I view it. 202-909-1492. Back to the phones. You're on Facebook Live with Ed Schultz. Hello.
Hey, Ed, my question is who's going to police these tax cuts? Yeah, in a perfect world, the corporations will be putting money back into the companies, but this is imperfect. I mean, years back they got buyouts, and the CEOs got huge bonuses from our tax money paying for them. So who's going to police these tax cuts and where the money that they save is going?
You know, that's a great point. There's no guarantee that these corporations, if they repatriate their money, that they're not just going to put it in the pockets of those who are sitting in the front office and not reinvest it. What's the hook? And so the tax rate from 35 to 15%, most of them right now, and we had this big discussion when Obama was running for re-election and Mitt Romney was talking about reducing the tax rate, when it turned out most corporations in this country only pay about a 16 to 22% rate anyway because of all of the deductions. I mean, I want to know if the table is going to be set for them to pay no tax. And there's a real possibility, depending on what kind of deductions are still going to be allowed, where their tax rate is really going to be after going through the entire code. You bring up an interesting point. You can't legislate or mandate how a corporation is going to run or what it's going to do with its profits. They're going to give it back to the shareholders. They're going to reinvest it to create more jobs. That's why I said that this whole thing is about theory, and we're short on the devil in the details. Your thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, I agree with everything that you've been saying. It's just, I mean, I'm a working guy, middle-class working guy, and yeah, I'm all for tax cuts. But then, I mean, like I said, who's just going to police where they put that money?
Yeah. Here's what I've also found interesting today. They're going to reduce the individual tax rates. There's going to be new brackets. There's going to be 10%, 25%, and 35%. So the wealthy are going to go from 39.6% down to 35%. But they did not announce what the income brackets were going to be. Right now, it's $415,000. If you're above that, you're paying almost 40%. If you're over that number at $415,000 or above, you're going to be reduced to 35% if they keep the income brackets the same. I think they're going to reduce the income brackets on the wealthy people in this country. I don't know what you consider wealthy. I think anything over $250,000 is a pretty good number. I think you can live pretty comfortably off of that. But the 10%, the 25%, and the 35% are the individual rates, but we don't know what the income levels are going to be as to where those intervals are going to be placed. 202-909-1492. Ed Schultz with you, Facebook Live. You're on with us. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, thank you for your show.
Thank you.
I greatly appreciate it. I just wanted to kind of say something. First of all, I'm calling from Houston, Texas. I was listening to the one lady talking about Bernie Sanders, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to give a call because I think that I don't want to say ignorant, but I want to use more maybe a knowledge or doing research to truly look at the facts that are there. The facts are there. Bernie Sanders is a man that has stood since he was in college. What he did when he was in college for standing up for people, no matter your color of your skin, and how his fight for justice and what America is. To me, Bernie Sanders is exactly what America is.
He's the most powerful progressive in America right now. There's no question about it.
Yes, and for me, I think right now, I think every person, the hard thing is getting other people just to open up their mind and to look. Because if they truly look at it, whenever they learn about Bernie, and you truly look at the man, I can guarantee you're going to love him as much as I do.
All right, I like it.
I wanted to get that shout out there because the fact, look at where the middle income is now to what was that before.
Yeah.
The facts are there. Look at how people can't even afford. People are going to work.
Well, we should
to work.
I hear you. We should point out that Bernie Sanders has introduced a bill, $15 minimum wage. It's long overdue. Watch it pick up steam. Thanks for the call. 202-909-1492. Caller, you're on Facebook Live with Ed Schultz. Hello.
Hello, my name is Jay Yost. I'm an electrical engineer in Boise, Idaho. And I was watching the proposal for the new taxes by the Trump administration.
Yep.
I would like to know who is doing the math for them. It doesn't add up.
Well, I believe
to the rich.
I believe that Mr. Cohen is the guy that is really doing this. It's all on. Look, this is a blueprint off Wall Street, is what it is, and it's Reaganomics on steroids. It's trickle-down economics. It's a theory that if you give the corporations breaks, they're going to hire more people, and they're going to create a greater base of people paying into the Treasury. And it takes money to buy whiskey, and there ain't no money around to buy a whiskey at the bar right now. I don't know. That's
correct. You said it there. You give the people the money, they will spend it because they have to survive, and they need the money, and they'll spend it, and that'll put money back into the economy.
Yeah.
Raise the minimum wage.
Raise the minimum wage. Good to have you on from Boise, Idaho. Let's go back to the phones, 202-909-1492. Ed Schultz, Facebook Live. You're on with us. Hello.
This is David.
David, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, I just have a question. What do you think it's going to take to get the Democratic Party to coalesce? And because I'm kind of concerned with the whole Bernie Sanders movement, and I feel like that it's taken us off course.
Bernie Sanders would have defeated Donald Trump. I don't know if you think that that's true or not, but I believe that. Most Democrats finally realize it now. And I don't think you could be afraid of his progressive effort and his movement because that's where the next generation is going to be. And I think he's going to play even a greater role in the next 4 years than he did in the last 2. That's my take on it. I wouldn't be afraid of the truth. I wouldn't be afraid of what people want. Good jobs, universal health care, guaranteed Social Security. Look, I just think Bernie is with the majority of Americans, but he doesn't have the corporate power right now. And we are at really a defining crossroads at a moment in American history where we're going to see some major shifts take place. We've got a conservative put on the Supreme Court. We've got over 200 judges that are going to be put on the federal bench that are going to be conservative. We've got an attack on the immigration laws in this country that could really change the face of the demeanor of the country. And now you've got a tax plan in front of you that is going to really engage the wealthy to do what? Keep their people in power in Washington. So I'd pay more attention to Bernie than anybody else on the Democratic side. So I don't know what you're worried about.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that was a pretty damn good answer myself. And with that, we're back tomorrow on Ed Schultz, Facebook, Is this Facebook radio?
It's Facebook Live. You're on television.
It's Facebook Live, isn't it?
It's Facebook Live.
Gosh, I love technology. When did we decide we were going to do this? At like 10 after 4 Eastern today? Yeah. I said, pimp out, we're going to do this at 4:30. And here we are, 25 minutes later. We took a half a dozen phone calls and talked it over. We're back tomorrow. Have a good one.